Josette here with another video for Robin's Nest. We're going to be using this paper. It's called Birthday Stars. One side is nice and glittery and the other side is a multicolored starred pattern. We're going to be making a pop-up card. And as in all my other videos, I always start with the images. So I found this cute little image at Sweet Stamps. Had several little mice, so I colored them, cut them out, mounted them, and now I know exactly how much room I need for my card. Now I struggled with how to demonstrate this the best, and I settled on this brown card simply because it's easy to see against the white background and you should be able to see my pencil marks. So the first step is to score the card in half. So we're going to score this at 5.5. Now you may find that you don't like to score all the way through, but since the box is covered with the image, this gives me a nice reference point. This measures 4¼ by 11 inches. So now I need to do some measurements. I'm going to use a ruler that has a center 0, and I'm going to center this on that fold. My image measured 2½ inches. So my box needs to be roughly 2 inches, and I want it exactly center. Now you don't have to make this center, but mine is, so I figured out where my center is, and I'm marking 1 inch on each side. So this is where my cut's going to be. Now my image, I would like most of the image to be backed by the box. My image measures 2 1/8 inches. I would like it to be backed by at least 1 1/4 inches. So I'm going to go up from the fold and place a mark at 1 1/4 inches on both sides. Okay. So I'm going to mark 1 inch from the fold on both sides. Now that's going to give me a box that is 2½ inches, 2¼ inches by 2 inches. Following me? Okay, so we're going to use my cutter. And I'm going to crank this in so you can see exactly what I'm doing. So here are my marks. So I'm going to place this into my cutter. I'm going to place my wire directly over this mark here. I'm going to place my cutting blade at the first mark here, and I am going to cut up to this mark. Okay, open it, slide it over, place my wire at this mark, and cut from this point to this point. And I have a box. Now I'm going to flip this around and place the 2 cuts on that wire, and then I'm going to score between the 2 cuts. And I'm going to repeat this at the other end. this one scored. All right, now we have a box. So this is going to fold up this way, and this one is going to fold this way. And then I'm going to fold my card in half, and I'm just going to make everything lay down. And we have this. Now I mentioned if you score all the way through, you end up with the score right here. But that's okay because I'm going to cover it with my image. And then just reinforce everything in between. Alright, now we need to make a secondary box. I'm going to lay this flat, and I am going to be putting a sediment. So I know that it needs to be at least 1.5 inches, but it doesn't need to be very wide. So I'm going to come in 1/2 inch from this cut edge and place a mark, and I'm going to go over about 1¼ inches and place another mark, and then from the bottom fold I'm going to go up 1/2 inch and I actually want to be marking this out here. Half an inch, come up 1/2 inch, and then I'm going to go down 1/2 inch from the bottom of the box. Okay, so here we have my 1/2 inch marks here, my 1/2 inch marks here, and here, and I'm cutting here and here. You see those marks? Okay, so I'm going to take this back to my cutter. Placing this mark here under the wire. My blade is equal with this mark, and I cut up to this mark. Slide it out, line my wire up, cut, and cut to the second mark. Okay. And now I've created a secondary box. The only thing I have left to do is score at the bottom of those cuts and at the top. And now I have this box that's going to come forward here and here, and everything should just lay down. So you just kind of have to finagle it and reinforce your folds, open it up, reinforce your folds in this direction and here. And now the box is complete. And it looks like this. Alright. Alright, so I have done exactly the same thing with my patterned paper. I cut the base down 1/4 of an inch all the way around, and then I cut a second card, so this measures 4 by 10 3/4, and a second card 4 1/4 by 11, and I'm going to attach the two. Now once I got everything lined up, I had to go in and trim a little bit more off the top, and that's just because the folds make everything not quite symmetrical. So the first step, I also added score tape in many places. So the first step is to attach, and this is probably more score tape than I need, but I didn't want to lose it. And I'm only going to remove half of it. I'm going to insert this into the fold, getting everything lined up the way I want it, and closing it, and then remove the other tape and not get stuck down to it. And you can see here how things don't quite line up. And then you just close the cover, and now everything is where it should be. And when you open up, you have your pop-up. Now all that's left is to embellish. So I'm going to add my little image here, my sediment to my bottom box, and then just fold everything down and it should stay. My little mouse, I attached it to a wobbler. He goes up here. And so when you open this card, it's very interactive. Now down here, I will place a white piece of paper that is matted with the purple and stamp my sediment. And on the outside of the card, I use the opposite side, the gray sparkly, I use a lot of score tape. My image has been mounted on fun foam. And mounting tape. I just need to trim my ribbon and I'm done. And here we have it opened with the little rabbit or mouse. And that's it. Thank you for watching.